Hello, YouTube! Welcome back to the Backstory, where we are trying to get the backstory on indie games, give a little light to indie game creation stories, and a behind the scenes look at what it takes to make a game and all the little stories that come along with it. I'm once again joined by my co host James.
How's it going, guys?
And today's guest today is Maxime, with a very hard to pronounce French last name, which I'm not even going to attempt. How are you going today?
Oh, hello everyone.
Righto, so today we are playing a game just Essence of Tjikko? Tjikko? Is there a particular pronunciation of that?
It's like my name, designed to be misspelled. No, Tjikko, it is the oldest tree on Earth. This tree in Norway, I think, is 10,000 years old.
Okay, well, let's jump right into it then. Okay, so this is just like a prologue or just a demo of the game. Is that right?
Exactly. I got a full project I've written that is full game with 5 dungeon and small open world with this retro 3D visual and this universe made of technology mixed with plants. But I wanted to first try my game as soon as possible to see the player response, and so I developed the prologue, the first episode, and all by myself, and that is what we are playing today.
Okay, right. So this is just like a proof of concept in order to get some feedback.
Exactly. And I wanted to go first and see how its reception on Steam.
Did you have doubts about whether this project would be entertaining for audiences?
I got concerns about the. I don't have every skills to make a great game design. I don't understand everything about gamer player psychology or logic
Mm.
in interface or UI. So I was a bit concerned about that. I think I managed to have a good game, but I think the biggest weakness about this game is that it's mostly designed to be played with a controller instead of a keyboard, and so I got some mixed reviews because of that. For the next episode of the game, I really want to find some people to join me.
Mm. Well,
Obviously,
that was going to be my next question. Was you've
yes.
mentioned bringing in a friend? Have you
Mm.
considered what was your experience in trying to find other people to help you?
There is many things. You don't want to be associated with someone that you cannot count on, so it's kind of stressful. So I'm kind of looking a bit everywhere, searching for people who would like to start the indie adventure. But most of people that I consider as great artists, great programmer, they already got a job. They already a routine. They're good on their own. So it's really hard. I guess that it's gonna take some time. I don't want someone that won't be able to work fully on this project, because you need to be focused 100% on your project to get things done.
Did you go through many iterations when you were designing the characters or the character in this game?
So I'm really not a good example, but the truth is I did not. No, I did some sketches on another notebook of how I imagine things would be designed, and the hero to be really simple. And I wanted the people to imagine what is the hero. That's the main concern, as I said before. I wanted the people to, if they think it's a girl, it's a girl. If they think it's a boy, it's a boy. So I just wanted to erase a bit of the identity of the player, of the hero. So the design is mostly like a puppet. It's a puppet.
Okay, a puppet.
It's like Link never says a word. This hero have some words, some thoughts, but is not designed to be charismatic. It's no.
So, what was the brainstorming process like for coming up with the puzzles in this game?
Oh, I'm gonna take my book because
You have like a
because
notebook?
I got several notebooks, and this one it's 140 pages full of shit.
Well,
No,
could
it's
you go into what shit means in this context?
in this context, it's a lot of ideas. I make every idea possible. I write them, and then I start to see what pieces of the puzzle match together as the different mechanics. And so I start to make some experimental game in my mind. And my idea for the first dungeon should be a childhood allegory. It's like when you're a small child, you need to learn how to make your first steps. So I designed the first dungeon as a big tower, really that you're gonna climb slowly. At first, when you look at the top of the tower when you're small, it seems impossible to climb. But now you can create some new path to progress. It's really this great idea you got for the world dungeon, and you put the bricks you created of mini puzzle, mini games, and that's how I designed the world building.
Well, speaking of world building,
Mm-hmm.
how did you come up with all of the lore around this game? Like, what the world is, what this character is, and bird and whatnot.
It's a long process. It reminded me when I was in a small exhibition. They asked me if I got inspired by a mythology to create this world, and totally not. I just got this simple idea of mixing technology and plants, and I just start to make things with that. For the lore, I wanted to keep it simple, and one of frustration I got with recent release is the fact that the games are making everything and imagining everything instead of the player. The player don't have to imagine anything because the cartoon is so well designed. The backstory is perfectly designed. There is no space of how do you say of mysteries. And I just wanted to put some small stories like some stories in the decor. There is some desk, some lab, some like we see on the screen. You got some places with papers on it. You don't know what is going on here, and you just imagine things about it. So it's not that it's not designed. It is designed. I know what I'm putting through, and there is a backstory, but I just don't want to tell in the game what is the backstory.
Right. You just wanted to give them just a little bit, and then they can ask their
Yeah,
own questions and find their own answers.
exactly. And I want to say the truth behind the game, behind the stories, nobody cares. I find it so awesome when people just make theories out of nothing, and sometimes development accident, because there is some development accident that end up being a main feature in the game. And I just want the lore to be mysterious.
Fair enough. Was there any, as you said, developer accidents left in this game to turn into main game mechanics?
Oh yeah, like I wanted to have a little ferry to give some life to the environment. Originally, it was designed as a navy, but I struggled so much to make it. I didn't know what would do this ferry. And I know I wasn't able to make a full-on working Navi like in Ocarina of Time because it was way too complicated for me to program. But I got this light bulb moment 2 months before the planned release. I played at Pikmin Bloom, and it was really funny to remember how in Pikmin the Pikmin brought fruits, and I wanted to add this mechanic of hunger. So the fairy is throwing you fruits like the
Throwing you
Pikmin.
fruits, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, with a small noise that I made myself with my microphone and some tweaks on Audacity.
Okay, right. So you originally want it to be a lot more like Navi, and then because
Yeah,
you couldn't, you gave it its own personality, where it throws
uh,
fruits and flies around.
exactly.
Okay, but in terms of live playtests, were
Uh,
you able to like jump in on people streaming your game and have a chat with
Oh,
them?
I did say that I struggled with the promotion of the game, but I really worked pretty well on Twitter and on social media to find people to try out my game. How I did that is I got several techniques to find people to try my game. It's like on itch.io, there is a list of press partners, and I just started to follow them all, start to see if they have a Discord, to start to say hi, I got a game. But I really wanted to don't get banned also. It was a bit of struggle to find the right amount, but I don't want to be a pain. So that's how I met some people. That's how I ended up in an exhibition in Bordeaux.
Okay.
But the most joy I have when looking at people, it's like on YouTube videos of gameplay, people playing my game. I discover how people play my game, and there is so many ways they resolve the puzzle, even ways I never found out. So it's really great to see that happen.
You got to put the cabbage
Yeah,
on
I
the
was trying to
pedestal first.
remember where I needed to put the cabbage. I was like, oh, I'll just hit this pedestal and I'll get to where I need to put the cabbage.
Does it upset you that it looks a lot like cabbage and we're just putting cabbages on statues?
No, it's great. It's as I said, you are making your own story out of what you see. So the artistic process I got on this world is okay. I got an item. I got this constraint, like for the bulb, it needed something to be round. I need to find the vegetal counterfeit of these needs. So that's how the lights are mushrooms or some big flowers. How I choose to use a bulb. That's how the flower, like carnivorous flowers, are giving you the bulbs. So I really wanted to interpret everything with vegetal on the vegetal side.
Right. And it just so happens that your batteries look like cabbages.
Exactly.
So,
We
you
call it.
are a French developer. What's it
Yes.
like making games in France? Is there a lot of support to help you guys make games?
Technically, there is a lot of financial help from the region, from the state, from some foundations. But you need to fit to a great French tradition, that is the administration, and it can be very slow. You can make sorry, how do you say démarche?
I don't
Some
know.
process could take several months before you end up getting your check. So there is a lot of help, but I think what was the most impactful for me, it was the pandemic, because it was mostly the pandemic that gave me this moment to, okay, I'm gonna make the thing I always wanted to do, a game, and I'm gonna enjoy my pandemic situation that
I gave you
where
the time at home
yeah,
in order to work on the
yes,
game.
exactly, exactly.
Right. Well, what's it like with is there a lot of developers out there, like French developers that you can go talk to, or like the industry, the roots of it? Is there a lot of people and the social support? I guess.
The industry is a bit focusing around Ubisoft in France because
Right.
Ubisoft got studios in almost every big cities. So everyone is a bit of was a colleague was an employee from Ubisoft at some point in their
Okay.
career. So it's a bit weird. So, but it's also making this network of people really cohesive. There may be some problems of some gangs, some people that want to get around on their own and don't want people to join them. It's a bit where it's like tribes.
Okay.
It's the different indie studios in France are a bit working like tribes. I think it's a bit it must be a bit like that in other countries, but it's really funny to see how it's working. But it's association of tribes because we all hang around, they all exchange their talents, they all reunite for game show. There is a lot of game show in
And
France.
everyone's touched Ubisoft in some way.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's the most important part of the industry in France. It's because of that.
It's certainly one of the biggest game companies out
Yes,
there.
yes.
I don't think you would say that there's warring indie tribes in Australia.
Oh,
No.
it's not that they are fighting each other. It's more they are independent from each other. They live in Montpellier, they live in Bordeaux, they live in Paris, they live in Lyon, and life is so sweet in France. People want to keep their comfort. So they don't want to find a manager, to find an associate. I think French video game developer want their life to be sweet because it's a hard work a job, and that's why they don't want to live from Montpellier, which is a city in the south with the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. Or
Mm.
another studio, it's Ubisoft in Annecy. It's next to a lake, surrounded by the mountains, and
Okay, stop showing off.
yeah. I'm just dreaming of it because I regret so much leaving the city.
Right.
I'm so stupid. Why did I come back in Paris? Ah.
Oh, so here's all your playtesters.
Yes.
Are these
Uh,
friends of yours, or these are the people from Twitter that you mentioned?
they're all friends of mine. Even the translators, it was a friend of mine. I only paid for the Korean and Russian translation. And yeah, it's all friends of mine that tried the game and gave me feedback. Most of my friends are working in the video game industry, so they got a feedback that was really helpful. And some others just got some ideas out of nowhere that really helped me to design the game.
Okay,
So
sounds good. Yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you again for coming on. I hope you had a good time, Maxine.
yeah, totally.
Alrighty, down below you'll see links if you want to support the game. You can play it for yourself down there as well. If you would like your game to be on the show and you're a developer, we have a Google form down below. Finally, if you like the channel, subs, likes, and comments are always appreciated, and we have a Discord group that's free for anybody to join. Until then, we'll catch you in the next episode. Well, that was a bit scary there when I left and you didn't leave
Yeah,
immediately.
it's because I was I had to chat with him after you left.